Has Israel's relentless military onslaught against Iran genuinely backfired spectacularly across the globe? Is a vulnerable Europe finally erupting amid the Iran-Israel war, as a Belgium synagogue suddenly sparks deep global shock? The Liege synagogue carnage rapidly comes amid a heavily armed Iran's deeply terrifying global revenge? Is Trump and Netanyahu's shocking, entirely failed master plan against Iran suddenly completely exposed? Right after strikes on Turkey and a UK base, a highly secure Scandinavian NATO member is now suddenly attacked. A terrifying blast directly near a US embassy located strictly inside a NATO nation sparks absolute panic. Amid the escalating Iran-Israel war, a massive blast suddenly rocked a prominent synagogue located in Belgium's eastern Liege city early on the morning of March 9th. The synagogue explosion has officially been explicitly labeled as an extremely violent anti-Semitic attack by Liege municipal and police authorities. The powerful explosion reportedly completely blew out the front windows of the targeted synagogue, as well as multiple windows of a residential building directly across the street. The unexpected explosion violently occurred exactly around 4 a.m. local time at the historic Liege synagogue, and remarkably, absolutely no injuries were officially reported, according to Reuters.
There was a big explosion, very strong, very loud. I first thought it was a car blowing up in the basement garage, but then everything stayed calm. There were no sirens, nothing. I lived just behind Rue Leon Frederick, and I lived on that street for years, right in front of the synagogue. Then I learned this morning that it happened at the synagogue.
As soon as the massive blast unexpectedly happened, elite Liege counterterrorism police units immediately and heavily swarmed directly to the damaged synagogue. Belgium Prime Minister Bart de Wever officially called the destructive synagogue blast an abject anti-Semitic act that demands an unequivocal public response. Anti-Semitism is fundamentally an absolute attack directly on our core values, our society, and we must fight it unequivocally, said Bart de Wever. Belgium's interior minister aggressively claimed the violent blast was an act purposefully aimed at directly targeting the Jewish community in the region. The outraged Liege mayor also publicly called the synagogue explosion a profoundly violent and deeply unacceptable act of pure anti-Semitism. External conflicts cannot be imported or exported into our city, the Liege mayor said, referring directly to the ongoing war raging in the Middle East. No, we are all the more shocked because the threats are not frequent. In the past, we have had to deal with some graffiti, a few tags related to the Middle East and Palestine, but nothing else. The Jewish community of Liège is an old, well-integrated community, not extremely large, but it plays an important role in Liège. We are obviously very shocked by this act, which I have described as anti-Semitic pending the investigation, and we stand with them, and their presence in the Liege region is an old, positive and important presence, so we will, firstly, protect them, and we will continue to live together. We always make sure that these conflicts cannot be imported or exported, depending on your perspective, but in any case, brought back to the Liege region, because here we want to live together locally, and that's how we're going to continue living. We won't allow conflicts from elsewhere to take root or spread. The shocking Belgium synagogue attack directly comes shortly after a highly alarming confirmed explosion occurred at the heavily guarded US embassy located in Oslo. On March 8th, a loud explosion directly hit the US embassy in Oslo, successfully causing some minor structural damage but miraculously resulting in absolutely no injuries. The Norway police claimed the alarming US embassy explosion may actually be an intentional act of organized terrorism, according to the BBC. The police hunt is currently still actively on specifically for the embassy attack suspect, and importantly, absolutely no additional explosive devices were ever found.